What's up, everyone?
What's in one?
Love our sports podcast. The New York Football Giants. Love that.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is episode number 21 of Fourth and One, a sports podcast. Fourth and One is presented to you by Why Am I a Nerd Podcast Network, where everyone is a nerd about something. My name is Sean Farwell, and sitting opposite of me is the golden voice of podcasting, Matt Ferreira. And no Ant the Stat Man tonight. We might have. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have input from our friendly neighborhood Spider Cam. So he will be joining in. If you listen to the cold open, it is election day, so I hope everyone get out and vote and make the best decision for you.
I hope everyone's safe too, because there's a lot of potential craziness going out there. So please be safe. Think of your friends, family, and neighbors.
Yeah, seriously. It's a crazy time, a crazy election. I have no idea what's going to happen. Interested to see. But like Matt said, stay safe. Who knows? Depending on results, either way, people are going to be unhappy and probably out there doing crazy shit.
And we might not even get the results for God knows how long. So it'll be a little tough. You know, you never know when Miami Cam's going to come in sauntering and just, throw in his input. Could be right now.
Well, in this episode of Fourth and One, we are back to talk fantasy football, sports championships, college football, more text message controversy, and our New York football.
Oh, we are definitely. I am involved in the fucking rigged ass fantasy football championship.
He just beat me. He already beat you. Cameron is going for the Triple Crown when he faces Anthony this week.
Oh, but
it's rigged, and he's in first place in his division.
I'm tied in first and tied in second. It's actually
you're tied in third.
And are you guys talking about this fantasy leagues? I'm totally involved in this conversation.
Let's go.
I'm coming for fucking blood. You're starting it right now. Here's your first segment. Cool. It's 4 minutes in.
Oh my God.
This shit. So we made a bet that whoever finished ahead has to do the fucking challenge. I got to be Spider-Man and Meemaws, and you have to dress a fucking nut, and I got a nice sign to make you do. But here's the bullshit. Because you only set the fucking playoff bracket to 6 people making it to the championship bracket. I'm currently tied for second in my fucking conference thingy. But because I don't have enough points, I'm technically third, which means I would fucking miss the playoffs. And if I have to fucking play you,
how would you miss the playoffs in third?
Because you fucked it up. Because
right now, actually, Cameron is the 6th seed.
See?
Wow.
Yeah. But I ain't done yet.
But there are 6 teams that have the same record, and that's going to change. I'm
not done. My point of this is this. Your fantasy football team is crap, and your fantasy football team
it is.
If you win another fucking 2 games. And if I end up making it to loser bracket and I play you and you're fucking 3-10 and my pimp ass is fucking 7-4, whatever the fuck I have to do the math, and I lose and I come in a worse place than you, but I have a better record, it's bullshit.
Well,
the record's the bet. Yeah, the bet is the record, which you've pretty much got in the bag.
Wait,
I would need to go on. Yeah, the bet was on the record. Was that you would have a better record in fantasy than that? Yes, it was.
Oh, really? Oh, then you can erase that entire rant.
No, I like that rant. But the season is not over. Michael Thomas we're still waiting for him to return.
Which we all know what the fuck I'm gonna say. Fuck you, Michael Thomas, and your piece of shit fucking Ohio State Buckeyes. I fucking hate you.
It felt good to say that.
It really did. Just like it's every week. It's therapeutic.
Well, besides Matt, fantasy football is getting pretty crazy. My team is against the ropes. No Aaron Jones, no Dak Prescott. That was my picks. Round 2 and 3. I lose to fucking Spider Cam over the past week, which is I didn't put up a lot of points. I was due for a shitty week, but now there's 6 teams. There's legitimately. Everyone's still in the race. The Golden Vocals does need a miracle.
Yeah, I would need something absolutely spectacular to happen.
But if you look in my division, I mean, I'm currently in first place with that's not really first. I'm tied for first with 2 other teams. And then the last place team is only 2 games behind me. I mean, anything can happen. This season is wide open. So it'll be interesting to say. Well, you are, but based on, I'm assuming, points.
Yeah.
You're 6th spot. You're actually, it's based on record and then based on points. You're actually, though, you've had quite a bit of luck, as have I. You have the least points scored against you. And
wow.
I have the second least points scored against me by 0.1. So thanks for Cam for scoring 0.1 points against me, right?
No, I'm telling you, what saved me in that game was finding out to pick up this guy, DJ Dallas. I picked him up with an hour left before the game started. He was like the 5th string in Seattle. I almost forgot to put him in. It was 1 o'clock. And I was like, oh my God.
This league's fucking fixed.
I was saying 1 o'clock. I'm going to have to go back and reverse
1 o'clock, it went in.
Sounds sketchy.
And I came through with the W because this guy is a winner.
What's your prediction for you got Ant the Statman this week? What's your prediction? Are you going for the Triple Crown?
I think I'm going to lose.
You're going to get, this is basically like you're going to win the 4th and 1 podcast championship between the 4 of us if you win this.
I would win anyway.
Wow.
Because I would have beat you 2. Nobody, you guys didn't beat me.
Unless you play somebody else.
No, it's only the 3 of us.
Well, technically, I mean, if you lose in the playoffs, which I'm coming for blood.
You robbed me my glory last year, bitch.
Jesus.
It is election day, folks, and Cameron James is fired up.
Coming out for blood.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, you do play. Anna. I was like, I thought you played Pat.
But then I gotta play somebody else twice. I'm not looking forward to it.
You are predicted to lose currently, but that doesn't mean much. That doesn't mean much.
It doesn't mean anything.
You did luck out with Cam Newton versus the Jets this week, I think.
I gotta play fucking Ashley a second time. She destroyed me like a fucking Spider-Man getting that fucking sand fist in his asshole.
You got punched in the back, dude. It says it in the article. You got punched in the back.
Watch Yo What Up Comics and look at the picture. That's a fucking fist in the ass.
Oh my God. What are we gonna do with you?
Oh man. Speaking of Spider-Man, how was your Halloween, Matt? Did you do anything fun?
I went to visit one of my friends who was in town. It was otherwise a pretty uneventful Halloween, though. You know, I was in New York, but there was nobody out. I was pretty much just in a hotel room, so it was a good time.
I'm assuming no trick-or-treaters to the hotel room.
No trick-or-treaters, no.
Yeah, Spider Cam, did you get trick-or-treaters to your house?
No.
Damn.
I got nothing.
Damn.
It's Bat Cam.
It's Spider Cam based off his leaked photo from Mama L.
Fraudulent.
That he was
fraudulent, he says. It's clearly you behind that mask. Just admit that you grew up loving Spider-Man. You know, it's no one's gonna judge you here for it. We want to be here for you. We want to help you grow as a person. Like, just admit that there's love in your heart for the spectacular Spider-Man.
Dude, I just got this photo sent to me from your mom, Matt, and you can't tell me this isn't you.
It's literally not me. That could not be less me. I hope I'm able to put this picture up.
It's on Google. It's on Google.
That's you.
There was no work in that. He didn't even try to crop it.
Honestly, I actually do have a picture of me in quite possibly the shittiest Halloween costume ever.
Let's see it.
All right, hang on 1 second. Give me 1 second.
A Michigan Wolverines jersey.
Oh, man.
I'll fucking kill you.
We will talk about Michigan Wolverines coming up.
Coming up from where? Where's he going? What's he doing?
He's pulling out.
Put your pants up.
A little Halloween costume. Oh my.
God damn, bro.
My bad, man. I'm thinking of grabbing shit off this board. Can we see this photo here? Or do I need to change the background?
Your background.
Yeah, hang on. My room's a fucking wreck. Whatever. I don't care.
Fuck it.
Word. Yeah.
How do I choose virtual background? There we go. We're gonna go to none. And we're gonna look at this here. There it is.
Which one are you?
Are
You the little guy,
Are
right?
you a hippie?
Yeah, I'm a hippie. I was super pissed this year. My parents, I wanted to be Spider-Man. My parents wouldn't do it. I think it's one of
You
these.
sure
is
you
the
ain't the
Finns
little
dude.
guy on the right?
One of the person either on the right or the left is the Finns dude. That's the front of the Finns dude house when we were growing up.
The Finns dude.
And that's-
who is in
and
a
that's Tom
constant
from
battle
MySpace.
with. Is any of those guys Tim Whalen? Because the Finns dude
Oh
and Tim
my
Whalen.
god. No, that is a
He
battle
thought it
for
was
the
me.
ages.
He
Yeah.
thought it was me the whole time.
Yeah, that was
That's even crazier. That he thought he was fighting with you literally the whole entire time in both of these text battles.
yeah.
My phone has like a do not disturb. And I woke up this morning, I looked at it, it was like 25 text messages. I thought either like one of the buildings burned down at work or there was a family emergency. And then I saw what group it was and I was like, oh my, you have to be kidding me. We will address that a little later. But first, Matt, tell them where they can find us.
I will. But first, I need to reopen that because I did not have it ready yet. I was slightly distracted by Cam. You can find us on
What the
Instagram
fuck did I do?
at Why Am I a Nerd Official. That's WHYAM, the letter I, A Nerd Official. On Facebook and YouTube at Why Am I a Nerd? That's spelled exactly the same, WHY. And on Twitter at fourth, that's the number 4, THANDWON pod. Please like, rate, and review us wherever you enjoy listening or watching. We appreciate it as much as we'd appreciate 5 stars.
Hell yeah. Before we get into, actually, I wanted to ask you one more Halloween thing. Give me your top 3 candy.
Oh, peanut M&Ms. Kit Kats, especially if they're different flavored Kit Kats. Like, sometimes you get the white chocolate or like, something like that. Or what else can we throw in there? Honestly, I'm probably gonna catch shit for this. I'm a big candy corn guy.
What the fuck?
Okay, I roll with candy corn too. I'm pro candy corn.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my top 3 though. I think Reese's is number 1 for me.
Wait, what was Reese's?
Yeah, Reese's. You can't go wrong with Reese's in my
Yeah,
eyes.
that's safe.
I do like a Snickers bar, out every now and then. And
Milk Duds.
Yeah, see, I knew we were gonna get something
I
like
was
that.
never big on Milk Duds.
You probably likes Raisinets too.
Ew.
What kind of candy do you get when you go to the movies, Cam?
Crunchies.
Okay, that's actually, I'm not mad at that.
What
I
about
wish they sold
What
those
about
more.
cookie dough bites? You ever get the
Those
cookie
things
dough
are
bites?
so gross.
Those aren't bad. They just need to be cold.
My kids love those.
They need to be
Shit.
frozen. Well, yeah,
What
that's
else
what
is-
candy is.
Yeah, I don't know. We can do next Halloween. We can do a bracketology for candy.
Yeah, I
Break
love
it
it.
down. All right, new theme song.
Sure.
4th and 1, performed by Spider Cam.
Don't you know the Degeneration X theme song? You serious?
What
Wait,
just happened?
you just said break it down. Do you know the Degeneration X theme song from the WWF?
I was
mean-
not a WWF guy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to like call that out in 2 seconds.
Okay.
You got any other ones that?
I
Technically, wrestling is a sport, so we can.
It's true. We can technically cover it.
If you
shout out to
perform
Jimmy
anymore-
Franklin, who tried to be a professional wrestler.
When was this? For Halloween?
No, he went to professional wrestling school. He said he got like his ass beat by some huge dude named Bubba and gave it up.
All right.
That's a wild story. I was not expecting that right now.
You
All
high?
right.
I thought you were gonna
No,
say.
not yet.
I thought you were gonna say he tried to play like a theme song or something on guitar. Not that he was-
Oh no, he tried to be straight up professional wrestler.
All right, let's get into our first segment of the show. Championships. The Dodgers won the World Series for the first time since 1988. Matt, if you had to rank your favorite teams in order of importance to win a championship for the franchise and your happiness level, what would your ranking be?
I mean, the Giants are always going to be number one. Number two,
even though they recently won.
I mean, it's always going to be my number one. Like, you know what I mean? There's just something about winning the Super Bowl, and every time you turn on ESPN, there's a highlight of it. It's such a good feeling. Number two is probably going to be the Mets. I feel like the Mets have to. It would just be. I was tempted to say them at number one, but I would really just enjoy it even more if the Giants won. But if the Mets won, I'd still lose my shit. I mean, I'll never forget. I was down in New Orleans the last time we were in the World Series, and I thought we had a shot for some reason, but then you
guys did have a shot. You did have a shot. You had a good team, but ever since then, they never.
Yeah, they haven't lived up. So hopefully now, new ownership, baby. Oh, that's official, by the way. Oh, God, and de Blasio tried to fuck it up.
Yeah.
But here we are. Michigan would be number three. Michigan's definitely number three. I would take them beating Ohio State and just like punishing Ohio State over that championship, though. And then I guess we're just kind of looking at the Magic and then the Devils. I'd say the Magic, I think, need to do a lot more to really kind of, just fully engage. I think they're doing good just being in the playoffs, but they're not performing well when they're there because they're always the 8 seed going against the 1 seed. So, I would say Magic then Devils.
Yeah, I would love – I was more recency biased with the Giants, but number one, I'd have to put the New York Knicks just because they've been the laugh.
Wow, yeah.
That's the laugh of the NBA for me for the last 20
Imagine that parade. Years. Imagine the parade.
That's like
for
the Mets.
Knicks.
That's like the Mets too. It's like being if you were a Jets fan and they won the Super Bowl. I mean, we're all in the same playing field there.
Is it a color thing? Do you think it's just the blue and orange in New York City? They just can't get it done.
No, but it's like that. The people that are Mets, Jets, and then even Nets fans. If you fit that line, or even Mets.
Well,
Jets,
that's literally my dad. Like he's just Mets, Nets, Jets. I'm like, why?
Number two would be Notre Dame. Obviously, they haven't won since 1988, and we're going to talk about them in a second. But they catch a lot of shit for being a prestigious program and never winning the big games in recent years. I put the Giants number three. Obviously, doing this podcast, we've gotten a little more into it and really watching this team. And we'll talk about it later. I don't want to ruin everything, but just watching the team having the heartbreak of these games recently, and just the success level just hasn't been there in the last couple of years. So
to the point that I can barely bring myself to not that I'm not watching, but it's like I can't get excited during the games. Like that last drive by Daniel Jones was like, oh my God, he actually converted the 4th down. But I'm like, do I let my guard down so I can be hurt again? Like,
I don't know. I mean, we'll save it for later. I don't want to get too into it, but those would be like my top three, just based on haven't won them in a while. Congrats to the Dodgers on winning the World Series. That's they've had the opportunities. They've had a good team for the past couple of years, and their fans deserve it. Speaking of championships, the Lakers also won.
Well, on my list.
Do you think? Oh yeah, let's get your list.
Nobody wants to hear my list. So, being like a diehard fan of the NHL, I've got to go with number three, the Devils. Being a diehard,
are we all Devils fans?
No,
I think we all know what number one's going to be, Matt.
We definitely do.
This guy's too predictable.
Being number two, I got to go with the spanking banging Hope Manson, dust nut spicy bitch ass hose that can whoop the Wolverines' ass to 3 sides of Georgia. No other than the Ohio State Fire Nuts. And last but not least, the Titans.
Oh my God! I thought the Titans were going to be number two. I really did.
So I thought he was building up. I thought he was building up to that name that we don't want to say.
I was too predictable.
I know. I think when we said that, we threw him off. He was going to say the Titans number two.
I was.
Yeah, I know. Now I lost my train of thought. But with the Dodgers winning, Los Angeles takes home the MLB. The Lakers took home the NBA. Dodgers kind of ruined the whole Tom Brady effect of Tampa Bay since the Lightning won the Stanley Cup. People thought if the Rays won, that Tom Brady was due to bring home the three-peat.
Did you imagine? Has that? This is something we need the stat man for. Because
I'm pretty sure that they did it up in
Boston
when with the Bruins, the Patriots, and the Celtics.
Fucking Boston.
With that said, you have two LA NFL teams. I don't think they can do it. I mean, there's just an outsider's chance.
Maybe the Chargers. I'd be intrigued.
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna get that this year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some college football. Clemson Notre Dame coming up this weekend. The game that everyone's been waiting to see all year. No Trevor Lawrence, COVID positive. He has the ACC has a 10-day, quarantine after a negative test. So he will miss the game, confirmed by his coach Dabo Swinney. I'm actually kind of disappointed that he's not going to play.
Yeah.
They're rolling with the freshman, 6'4", 250. DJ, I'm going to go with his first name because I will not be able to pronounce his last name. I believe it's you. I don't know. Snacks McGuigan sent me a whole thing on how to pronounce his name. I didn't watch it out of spite. But yeah, as a Notre Dame fan, I'm kind of sad not to see Trevor Lawrence because for us, it's a lose-lose. If we lose the game, we lost to the freshman quarterback, obviously a super talented team. If we win the game, we didn't beat Clemson at their strongest with their number one quarterback.
Yeah.
So it doesn't give us that. It gives us a signature win, but not the kind of win, not the way we wanted to win it.
Of course not. Yeah.
So,
sucks, but
it sucks. I don't know what to expect out of Notre Dame, to be honest with you. They obviously have had trouble playing these top teams. I mean, Clemson is just uber talented. They're producing NFL talent every year. They're basically like that new Alabama. Between them, Alabama, the teams they're putting together are just crazy, and they're kind of in their own tier. And obviously anything can happen in college football.
Yeah.
If we do win, we will see them again if we continue to go undefeated in the ACC championship. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm just hoping for Notre Dame to at least show up against them and kind of show the country what we're about this year. But, it's tough to say. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. Notre Dame is kind of hit or miss this year.
Yeah.
As far as
crushing
teams.
Is like aside from these like kind of like you mentioned the power teams, is there anyone that's really been guaranteed? It's the consistency is almost like a wish at this point,
right?
With a lot of what we're looking at. So
yeah, I mean, look at the Big 12 is just out of control with who's winning and who's losing. The Big 12 is losing to teams like my Coastal Carolina, knocking off Kansas by like more than 10 points. It's hard to say because you're also in like your own conference bubble.
Yeah,
you're playing only your conference teams. So down the line, it's going to be really hard to gauge who's actually the best team until they have to play each other in a college playoff.
Agreed.
So Matt, I don't want to talk about this, but I guess we're gonna have to bring it up. What happened this weekend,
dude? They just love to hurt me. I really don't understand how we let that game get away from us. It's like Michigan State definitely came in mad. They were obviously furious that they lost to Rutgers, who's the joke of the Big Ten, but they do have Greg Schiano back. They're performing a lot better. And then I think Michigan kind of let them catch them off guard. But the biggest factor I would say in this game was the fact that the refs were calling everything on Michigan's defense. The defense is known, they mentioned it a few times during the game, they're known for being a little handsy. So a lot of these were kind of questionable calls where it wasn't quite holding, but there was some, some interaction there. And I think that set the momentum and the tone pretty early in the game, which made it possible for that freshman at State to really exploit Michigan's defense on the outside. And then
you think, it kind of seemed after Rutgers beats Michigan State, Michigan's looking at them like,
like whatever.
Cakewalk. And, that happens. You underestimate a team. And the same thing, happens with Michigan as happens with Notre Dame is teams that are not as talented, don't have the players. This is their Super Bowl.
They just want to ball out.
For Michigan State, after getting embarrassed like that, this makes their season if they could beat Michigan and pull it off.
Yep.
What do you think about is it time for Harbaugh to go? Do you think this is the end of the era?
Oh God, it's so tough. Just because I love Jim Harbaugh, I really do, but he hasn't won the big games. We don't see the good halftime adjustments. We haven't beaten Ohio State his entire tenure there. Something's got to change. The real question is, who do you get? Who are you going to get that's better than Harbaugh at this point? There's no options out there. So we got to roll with him and kind of hope for the best at this point.
Does he have he has a crazy contract.
Oh, it's nuts. Yeah. He's a hero in Ann Arbor. People love him there. And he's done a lot of good, but it's just it's getting to that point where we got to figure something out,
Yeah, I'm trying to see. If Michigan decides this is from thespun.com. Article titled Jim Harbaugh's contract buyout situation after the embarrassing loss to Michigan State. Harbaugh, who signed a 7-year deal back in 2014, is contracted for the rest of 2020 and the entire 2021 campaign. If Michigan decides it instead wants to move on from Harbaugh, it can either wait until after 2021 or it can figure out a way to buy him out. His salary is insane.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's over 10 mil per year.
Which is crazy with
all his if he wins certain games or gets compensated in certain spots, that's a crazy for a college. Look,
for a college coach, it's a crazy contract. Yeah, I agree.
But if Michigan has a season where they're not meeting an expectation, I can see them pulling the plug on him. Like you said, they haven't won the big games. They haven't beaten their rivals. There's not much you can really, what have they accomplished since he's been there? He's brought excitement for the team.
Oh yeah, the best year he had, though. Sorry to cut you off. The best year he had was the revenge tour year, where we came back, we beat Penn State, we beat Michigan State, we beat all these teams that gave us a problem until we got to Ohio State, and then everything kind of unraveled. We dropped out of the rankings, we're out of playoff contention, and it just leaves a stale note in your mouth, a stale taste in your mouth. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think it's on this season. If he can turn it around after a bad loss to Michigan State, I could see him finishing out his contract through 2021. If things don't go the way they want them to, he could be in a interesting situation.
Yeah,
and I don't really know. I don't know what Michigan would do. Like you said,
yeah, I don't either. I don't know where we go.
Yep. So my Coastal Carolina Chanticleers recently featured in College Game Day, also ranked for the first time in program history.
Congrats.
Yep. Record of 6-0, 4-0 in their conference. Our man Snacks McGuigan, also an alumni, asks, what do you think is a realistic expectation for the rest of the season? I think they could win out and be undefeated. Do I think that's going to amount to anything as far as playoffs or anything like that? No, obviously not. They're a small school. This is the first time they're doing it. The college playoff committee is not going to pop them into the top four.
Yeah,
you see it a lot with the smaller schools. They have a great year. They don't get the credit, maybe they deserve. They get popped into a good bowl game against a good opponent, and you see usually for the most part they get crushed. But you never know. You have a team like UCF a couple years ago, and they're a little bigger than Coastal, obviously. But they actually destroyed whoever they played in the bowl game. So you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Look, you couldn't get people to go to the football games when I went there, even with solid winning teams and professional talent at the time. So it's just good to see. Good to be an alumni. Proud of my Shire.
It's always nice to have that.
Nice to have that. So I'm looking forward to see what they do the rest of the season. Their games are getting featured a lot, so I'm able to watch them on regular television, which is nice too.
Yeah.
Let's talk some more Big Ten here. Wisconsin loses another game to COVID. What do you make of what is happening in Madison, Wisconsin, and how many games do you think they're actually going to play this year?
I don't know how many. So that's the second game that they've missed now.
Yeah, and they have 27 positive cases as of the
honestly, that's kind of where you got to shut it down, in my opinion. Like that's a lot going on. Like you can't really, because how do you even balance that out against the other teams?
I mean, this happened to Notre Dame earlier in the year where they had to reschedule whole games, and it kind of coincided with a bye week. But like the Big Ten started late; they're already pressed on time. How do you reschedule games like into late December, early January? I mean, what's going to happen? I don't know. And plus, now you have to wait all this time every time there's a positive test or those players are going to be out. Who knows who the players are? They're not going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
But when they release that, that starting depth chart for the next game, whenever they're going to play it, it could be rough. Who knows? It could be all their starters. It could be a whole position group. It could be, we don't really know. But they're also those guys aren't also not practicing. They're not working out with the team. The facilities are shut down. You're not having any football activity going on, which is going to be detrimental for whoever they end up playing. I mean, the other teams are probably going to come out, having played the week before, and just go to work. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is it's so tough to call because obviously like we're sitting here trying to make our own predictions on what they can or should do. And the actual professionals, who are in here, the different athletic directors and program directors, they don't even know, it's just, this is kind of brutal. This is why initially I was against them bringing college football back, because it's just kind of putting these kids at risk basically for possibly nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's not fair were we discussing this or was I discussing this offline? About how it's not really fair that the Big Ten even get a shot to compete for anything outside of their own division. Like there should be no opportunity for us to get into the playoffs at all.
Wow, I mean that's coming from a Big Ten fan too.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it's so late in the season. Like, what I mean? We're coming in after other teams have been playing for weeks. Like, it's not,
Wisconsin
fair.
Is supposed to play Michigan on Saturday, November 14th at 7:30. So
yeah, we'll see if they're up to the task.
We'll see what happens. Or I mean, I don't know. It's unpredictable right now, especially with the rise of cases and just in America in general. The Pac-12 hasn't even started play. They start play this Saturday. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think you're right. I think you make a good point. Maybe they should just play their conference games if they can, get in a season conference play only and see what happens and not try to interfere with anything else that's going on just because they started late. They're obviously getting hit with cases and you don't know what's going to happen with any other team. This is just Wisconsin right now. Unfortunately, but this could happen to anybody. This could happen to multiple teams. So, hopefully it wasn't anything with protocol or anything like that. But it's just a tough situation that there's nothing you can do to predict it. Like you said, the experts can't even predict what's going to happen at this rate.
Yeah, it's scary shit.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. Let's talk about some NFL. The debate heard around the world, round 2. Everyone is debating, basically everyone in quotations, Finn's Dude and Timmy, are debating the 2-point conversion play at the end of Monday Night Football. Was it pass interference or was it Daniel Jones with a late and bad pass? Settle this debate.
I kind of think it was a little bit of both.
I agree.
To be 100% honest. I think it was a late pass, but he did collide with Deion Lewis before the ball was there. But it shouldn't have happened because Jones should have had the ball out sooner. That's step one. But B, I think once the flag's thrown, you can't really just pull it back. The Finns dude would obviously argue with that, but my personal opinion is, and we've seen it all the time with other things. Once the flag's thrown, if there's no,
they threw the flag for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they saw something, which, look, I mean, they played it in slow motion and trying to see when the ball got there to when they made contact.
It's very close, yeah.
But I believe our friend Washington Dave also said, like, Winfield didn't get his head around either. He ran straight at him. If he turns around and looks at the ball, it's a different play there. He gets his arm in there, and there's no questions asked. The fact that he was running across the field, kind of behind behind Dion Lewis. Daniel Jones doesn't make the throw, which we will get into later, on time. But there is that incidental contact, split second before the ball gets there. Look, if it prevented him, he hit the guy before the ball gets there. I mean, it's pass interference. They threw the flag. They saw it. Yes, there was a conference between the refs. Someone maybe with a better view called it differently.
Yep.
Remember, so we were allowed to review pass interference calls, but I guess under 2 minutes.
I think under 2 minutes, which is a little questionable to me. I'm like, how? That's when I feel like you should be like really looking at everything under a microscope. Is the last 2 minutes of a game,
right? Especially a game deciding play.
Yeah.
Like this play was to decide
the entire
game or the outcome.
And on
Giants.
And on Monday night, no less. You know what I mean? The entire world's watching this game. So
yeah. Look, moments all defense at this point, any defensive pass interference that goes against the Giants is just going to provide good group chat fun.
Oh my God. I almost want to share all those messages. It is nuts in there.
So it has been entertaining to say the least. But yeah, I say they threw the flag, pass interference. Yes, it was questionable, but it prevented him from making the play on the ball. Pittsburgh is still undefeated. So we kind of trashed Pittsburgh a little bit last week, said we didn't think they were that great. Have they changed our opinion on them, or are we still not sold on the Steelers?
They're better than I thought. I mean, I'm still going to kind of stay with that. I don't know if I see it lasting all season.
I'm not sold on the Ravens. So I think, they beat a Ravens team
that's been struggling, shockingly.
Right. And it's tough to, I mean, look at the division they're in. The Ravens have been struggling. Yes, they do have a decent record.
Yeah,
you have
but they're
the
not
Bengals.
Dominant. Yeah, they're by Ravens standards, they're struggling.
You have the Bengals who are coming off, a draft where they had the number one pick and have to, take a new franchise quarterback. You have the Browns who are one of the most inconsistent teams I've seen, also dealing in injury trouble. So I don't know. I'm still not sold on them 100%. Yes, the record is impressive. They also played the Giants, who threw the game away, literally. And it's tough to say. I think I need this Pittsburgh to see him this second half of the season to make us believers.
Yep. We got to see.
Just got to see what happens. Tom Brady looks to be winning New England divorce. Do you think they would be in the same boat if he stayed, or could he have made a difference this year? Are New England's problems bigger than just quarterback?
I mean, I think there's probably a reason he left. You know what I mean? Him and Bill probably had a talk where it's like, it might just be time to go.
Yeah.
They probably kind of could both see the writing on the wall there. And there was a rumor that I heard today that I would absolutely love, that Bill Belichick was waiting for this season to end to leave the Patriots and come be the GM of the Giants.
No way.
It'd be awesome. But I highly doubt it. But
that would be insane. But it could also make sense because the Giants haven't made moves. What we thought they were going to be trading people away. They haven't let, or I'm guessing they haven't let Gettleman make any moves for a certain reason, possibly to get rid of him. That would be an interesting twist to this whole entire thing.
It would be pretty crazy.
That would be pretty crazy. Yeah, I think Tom Brady knew what he was doing. I think, like you said, they probably had a conversation. Belichick said, "Look, we're gonna start to rebuild." They had a lot of guys, obviously drop out due to COVID concerns as well, so that doesn't help their team out much. But I think their problems are bigger than quarterback. I think they have I mean, look, Tom Brady does make a big difference when he is there. He could have made a difference in that division. You know, Cam Newton, I have a lot of respect for the guy, but he's not Tom Brady, obviously.
No, not at all.
Completely different quarterback, a completely different playbook. Yes, could they have been better than they are? I think so, but I think there are also a lot of holes in that team that
tons, yeah.
That they're starting to show as time goes on. Dan Quinn and the GM are out in Atlanta. If you're the new coach and GM coming in, would you stick with Matt Ryan or move on to a new quarterback? Where could Matty Ice end up? Maybe San Fran with Shannon, his old OC.
I mean, that would be a really good landing spot for him. It's just a matter of do you think Matt Ryan's clutch is going to be kind of my response to this? Because the Niners have the talent to make it to the Super Bowl again, but to go and experience another heartbreak because Matt Ryan can't, carry you through the second half of the game.
That'd be rough.
That'd be rough. Yeah. So I think that would be a good fit for him. I don't think he stays in Atlanta after this year. I think we've seen the last of him there.
Yeah, I think they're gonna blow that team. I think you have to dismantle that team and just keep your younger players around. That's
like what the Giants should have done, but
right. I mean, that's yes. Coming out in of our Giants tweets of the day, we'll go over some Giants records over the last 4 years.
We do have a guest ready to join for this later segment, by the way.
Okay, perfect.
So if we jump back on.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's gone. I mean, San Fran's an interesting spot. Obviously, they haven't hit with Garoppolo with the injuries. They have a great offensive line, solid defense.
Yep.
I think Matt Ryan could be successful in San Francisco, but is Matt Ryan also one of the reasons why Atlanta's the way they are? I don't know. It's tough to say.
Definitely a factor.
Matt Ryan, I mean, definitely drove them to the Super Bowl, but like the Falcons like to do, the collapse is real. The collapse is real.
It's real.
All right. Well, before we get to talk about Big Blue, let's get a word from our sponsor.
Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find more information at www.memoms.com.
And we're back, and joining us is Washington Dave from the Rise and Fall Fantasy Football Show, also a.k.a. the Rise and Fall Pod, diehard Washington NFL and fantasy aficionado. Did I get that right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's fading every day with that team, but, it's still there.
Hey, you're lucky because we're here to talk about our fading New York Football Giants.
It is getting rough, though.
Fucking rough, man. The New York Giants faced off against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football and lose another heartbreaker, 25-23. Let's talk about something positive. The Giants uniforms. I mean, I think I was a fan. I mean,
yeah, I was a fan.
Throwbacks are good.
When they said throwbacks, I expected actual throwbacks. So we got the throwback helmets, which I'm a huge fan of, but the color rush jersey. So I'm put on the actual throwback jersey. It's not that hard to do. Give me something to pay you for. I would give the team money if they release that. You know what I mean? Do you guys want money this year or not? Because for the product you're putting on the field, you don't deserve it. But you put that jersey on, I'm going to buy it. So that's where I'm at on that.
I did go into their shop. They are only selling the highlight jerseys. There is not an alternate option to make it a blue jersey, which sucks. So,
see that you guys absolutely should go for that home jerseys feel for that. That helmet is this. What is it? The 80s helmet, I think it is.
Yeah, the 80s early. Yeah, it's iconic.
Great. It's great. I remember when they actually switched to the NY, and I was all about it. I was like, nice new. It was like a new identity at the time.
Yeah.
But I feel we're due.
It's something the Giants need.
Yeah, I feel her too.
Honestly, I feel like even just the tone, the darkness of the blue in the helmet, if you even just brought that back with newer logo, it would still make it look so much better.
I agree.
And then maybe even darken the blue on the jersey just a little bit, going more of that 80s style, and it would you could do it. you know. But I think you should make those whites your home because your white jerseys are kind of weird.
Oh, they're
white
whack.
red,
They don't make any
I don't
sense.
get it.
Yeah.
You're big blue, but you have no blue in your away jerseys, like at all. You know, just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And my
I
team
mean,
has no name, so you know that's saying
The
something.
team has
What?
no name.
I mean, that's going to be the official new name of the Washington Football.
If he was our logo, if Jack and Agar, you know, I'll be down.
Could you imagine?
What do you? I mean, what are your throwbacks? You have the Seminole spear on the helmet, right?
We got the spear. It's a deep throwback. The one that's more common, which I don't like. There's two of them. There's like this one that's like it's supposed to be like it's supposed to symbolize the leather helmet, but like modern day because it was like the jerseys were from the days where you had the leather helmets, no face mask. So it's like that. I don't know if you guys have probably seen it. It's like the darker like duty brown, you know, helmets. With these like weird, awkward, like the Washington logo here, the old one is even weirder in that. Then you have the spear, and then you have the yellow helmet R's. Those are my favorite helmets. I absolutely believe those should be brought back and be like, you know, the new helmets with at least the color because I love those yellow helmets for us.
Are you hearing anything on the name front? Are they saying they're not saying anything this season? Obviously,
I mean they might not say anything for 2 seasons. There was like, there's like, they're like, well, we might do this. Dude, there was uproar on Washington Twitter. Like, we do not want to wait a year at all. Give us a new name, give us a new quarterback, and let's just move on to 2021, man. I'm ready, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think as the NFC East fans all can agree, let's move on to 2021.
Unfortunately, I mean, I don't think we can because we're all still in it. You know, we're all a game behind. It's just, it doesn't change. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I'm happy about that or sad. I don't really know.
No, I don't think any of us want to win this division. Just let the Eagles take it and fuck themselves over, and, you know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what Dallas is going to do with Dak. So we could have 3 teams looking for a quarterback, and they're all going to be kind of, you know, crap in the bed. I don't want to be the team that's like on the outside looking in on these top prospects because this is a good year for quarterbacks. Not like the ones when we had with Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins.
You're right.
Can't ever say without laughing anymore. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, we've been talking about the same thing every single week, and it's just like it's like a broken record at this point. You know, we're watching the same games happen. I mean, you are too, where there's these close games where the mistakes that are made are just
horrendous.
And it's the same ones Matt and I talked earlier. The same ones, man. Like Daniel Jones in particular. And they even called him out on broadcast. They were like he made a mistake earlier, and then he threw that bad pick. He was doing good mobility, getting out a little bit. And Matt and I talked about it. He threw in the one spot that was like either going into defender or going into the ground. That's like the worst spot to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Throw it out of bounds. Throw it in the dirt 5 yards ahead of him. But he just needs to learn from that. I get that. I think it's a weird dynamic, though, that like I don't see as much progression. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't see the progression from Daniel Jones to that he's like so far ahead of, say, Dwayne Haskins when he had his opportunity. And yet now Dwayne has no job.
We're going to talk about your tweet a little later in the episode.
Which one, man?
So let's go over the game a little bit. This beginning of the game was similar to last game for the Giants, where the Eagles ran all over them the first drive of the game. This time the Giants actually get a stop. They force a field goal. And it almost felt like just a big win in my book because I was like, oh, shit. This is going to be the whole entire game. Tom Brady's going to throw up and down the field on us. And the Giants defense came to play. And
yeah, they really did.
They're doing a lot with not a lot of talent on the field.
But they have you got some nice core pieces there now.
Right.
You know, Blake Martinez. I mean, I told Matt earlier.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a good signing for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, he. I have my notes here. He forces the fumble right off the bat with Rojo fumbles it, gets off his knees, pops it out, and the Giants got to capitalize on that drive, which was huge. But yeah, that guy's all over the field, and I don't know if it's how they're just working their defense, doing that 3-4 where he's getting so much filtered to him. But I mean, I'm ecstatic with that signing, and hopefully, that's putting some more pieces around him. They can build on that, but it's interesting.
And if I remember from free agency this year, he was one of the higher coveted linebackers. I forgot who it was. That was a a couple people. One from Cleveland, I think, that went somewhere else. Long story short, there was a couple of them that got deals, like Corey Littleton and stuff like that. I haven't heard his name all year.
Yeah.
And Blake Martinez, they were all pretty much in that same range. Like they literally fell in the same range. So you could have very well missed and got one of the other ones for the same price and have another Alec Ogletree situation, in your backfield. And let's be real. Who's the best linebacker, middle linebacker you guys have had since like Antonio Pierce?
Yeah, I mean,
it might be Blake Martinez right now.
It
so
might.
Definitely is right now.
We've talked about this a lot. The Giants don't do well with linebackers. It's just not like where, the Washington football team, they're like factoring them out. The Giants haven't had anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been pretty brutal.
But you guys got to, free agents, first of all, you guys, I would be thrilled for the free agency move. So like my team didn't do that. You guys got James Bradbury. You guys got Blake Martinez. I mean, those are two guys you spent a lot of money on who are hitting. And that goes a long way for a young team who needs to build on the offense. You can kind of go down this all season, really, if you guys get your position and be like, all right, let's focus on the offense. We got some pieces here. Let's fortify some areas here. I think the receiver core was going to change a little bit too, but
yeah. And that's like, it's a weird thing because everyone trashes Dave Gettleman. And I know his drafting looks like shit so far, but then we talk about the people he brought in, Bradbury, Martinez, and those guys are just playing, off their ass, looking like Pro Bowlers. And it's tough to, no one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about how shitty his drafting's been in our offensive line and all the other problems we have. And yeah, I guess that is part of it. He's only made a couple good moves, but still the good moves he did make, they seem to be paying off for us. If
he was aware, he would because that kind of tells me, okay, he's good in evaluating NFL talent, but I mean, listen, tell me if I'm wrong. Andrew Thomas, I saw a couple of the earlier games, and he looked awful to me.
Yeah,
it's a blue and white scrimmage. I saw
that out. Yeah, he was supposed to be the safest pick, and he's been terrible. I feel bad for him, honestly.
So things like that, I'm like, all right, well, maybe you need someone to, I'm not going to go to my team because we don't have a great structure either. But we have a guy specifically, Kyle Smith, who does deal with the draft, and he has gotten really nice value in 3rd round, 4th round. We're seeing it almost every year. Terry McLaurin. You can go Cole Holcomb, who had a great game. Our middle linebacker now. You can go down the line. Kendall Fuller was one of ours too. So, but free agency, we have done nothing. So we're like the opposite of you guys,
right.
But we have guys that kind of deal with both departments separately in a way. So I don't know, maybe Gettleman needs to just hand those he has to find someone to bring in that's a really astute scout and get someone that can that he will lean on to make those picks and then sync with him for free agency. And I mean, you guys aren't that many pieces away, though. Really,
I think his problem at this point is he's not going to change his structure.
Yeah,
these other teams that are having success, looking at all these analytics and running all these new statistics, and
he doesn't believe in them.
And he doesn't believe in them. He's an old school guy, and Bradbury and Martinez were hits. He has a lot of misses too in free agency. Who we can't we're not going to bring up, but it's tough to say. One of his obviously main things that he drafted was Daniel Jones. And the main stat that stuck out to me last night was Daniel Jones has 34 turnovers in his first 20 games. That is the most since Ryan Leaf had 41 in his first 20 games. That's not a good. That's not a good guy to be compared.
Not good company.
That's terrible. Yeah. No, that guy went nuts after all the pressure. I mean, you don't want to be there.
But
especially not in New York.
Yeah, that's scary. And and you brought up when he threw the picks. The best part was later in the broadcast when he decided to throw the ball out of bounds. They were praising him like he made the best play in the world. And
you would think he threw the ball to David Tyree, to help win the Super Bowl. It made no sense.
I mean, I don't know how to feel about Daniel Jones. The guy, he shows you the potential he has. And then you go look at the 3 plays that he made that were basically game changing. Both the interceptions, he has guys on his back, and he just. They show on TV, he has Darius Slayton. If he looks left or looks right, Darius Slayton's wide open down the field on both those.
Yep.
But he has literally guys on his back, and he decides to try to make this throw, and he's just never going to reach him. And the turnovers are killing the Giants. I mean, they're actually, if he doesn't turn the ball over in half the time, they can win half these games and have a better record. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
You also, if I'm not mistaken, Will Hernandez wasn't in, right? So you were missing some linemen too.
Will Hernandez wasn't in, but the guy that fills in for him, and I know after the game, he didn't get the best grade from, I guess everyone's using Pro Football Focus for everything now. But he actually, the Giants offensive line, and in our notes they actually looked like they're figuring it out. We brought up Andrew Thomas before. This was probably his best game going against JPP, which was obviously
impressive.
Challenge.
JPP was everywhere on that field too.
And he was desperate to make an impact. He made some decent plays, like stopped them for yards here or there, but he didn't make that impact play. So I give him credit for that too.
I mean, he talked a lot of shit before the game.
Yeah, he did.
He talked a lot of shit, and honestly, he probably feels burned by the Giants. I mean, they got rid of him; they didn't have to. He obviously was a salary cap relief at the time.
Yeah,
not as burned as his fingers.
Oh,
damn!
I mean, I'd be mad if he was still on our team, but damn, I can't.
I had to throw. I had it.
I threw you an alley oop there, so you have to throw it down.
Listen, I gotta say this too. Danny Dimes. Is he warranted of that nickname? Because Matt knows the name I got for him.
Yeah, he's got to do a lot to bring that back.
I mean, Danny Donations is a little more accurate right now.
He's giving out wins left and right.
But see, here's the thing, though. You mentioned the passes and the some of the aspects that were the line, the rushing, and so forth. I can live with not getting to Darius or whoever it was, Sterling Shepard, who was open because you had a pass rush and you were frazzled. That's a good defense.
Right.
Matt and I talked about this. I cannot stand the 2-point conversion pass. Forget the DPI part. Forget that. That. Because realistically, it shouldn't have been a factor if Daniel Jones threw this damn ball correctly.
Now joining us on the podcast is the Finns dude and Tim Whalen.
Did it?
No, you're right.
If
that's not even in talks, because if he makes the throw on time, reads it correctly, then they get the 2.
Yep.
I mean, it was like we all I feel like I can guarantee this 99% of America's minds processed the route of him going to the flat when to release that before he did. And I guarantee you for one split second, 99% of America was sitting there like, throw the damn ball, just throw it.
I wonder
and then he throws it behind him. It was.
I wonder if he started to hesitate because he's been throwing so many picks. You know what I mean? I wonder if
he didn't run it. Use your legs then or something, do something.
Yeah.
I said the same thing, Kyle Allen.
Yeah, and it's that thing with him too, is I'm just waiting in the game, waiting for him to throw that interception. And if I'm thinking about it like that, I get these guys are professional athletes and they do mental training, physical training, whatever training, but that has to be in the back of his head.
Absolutely.
You could see it with a lot of the plays he makes. Let's talk about the last drive to get the touchdown to potentially tie the game. That drive was almost over 3 other times because of bad passes he made. He threw it to a couple guys. And honestly, the receivers, yes, he made a good throw on a couple of them, but the receivers made the plays and got the first downs. It's no doubt about it.
It felt like more of I felt like the more usual pass I saw last night was 4 yards way past the just a little bit less. It would have been on 8 times out of 9 or something for him last night.
Right.
And then so you're saying the receiver stepped up, made some amazing plays. Dion Lewis catch. Let's be real. That was a phenomenal catch by the guy. Yeah. You don't make that. 99% of the league's not going to make that catch. It's a hard catch to do.
Yeah.
So it was a good pass. Don't get me wrong. It was a great effort, but he needs. I had this theory about quarterbacks way back in the day, and it categorizes them in 2 ways. And I know a lot of people somewhat have this philosophy, but you have the guys that make players better around you, the true all-stars, and you have the guys who you need a good cast around to be a good quarterback. And weirdly enough, I actually thought Eli, for parts of his career, for the most part, was one of those guys that made people around him actually better, at the end of the day, when he was good Eli. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Tom Brady's kind of one of those guys. Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys. All the elites are one of those guys. And then there was always these guys that are kind of Daniel Jones right now, to me, the guys around him are making him a decent player, not the other way around. And that's not a franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
that I would
that's
invest
not the guy you really want in there.
He's the guy that's the reason. He's the reason they're not winning these games. I mean, he's bringing them down. If you put any, I don't even want to give an example on a quarterback, but like if you just don't turn the ball over, the Giants win half these games.
Yeah,
we can go back to Pittsburgh, the Bears. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Now, these games where he's making a decision that decides the game for the Giants, or at least doesn't give them the opportunity to try to win it. And it's disappointing as a fan, but at the same time, he was drafted by a certain Gettleman that put him in that spot, who's drafted most of this team for the last 3 years that has not been successful. And I don't want to keep blaming Daniel Jones. It's there are players around him that are talented, but Gettleman's had 3 years to build this team up, and we're just not at the talent level.
Not seeing it,
right.
And it's disappointing.
There are some pieces, but there should be more than that by now.
Yeah, we should have seen some replenishment at this point from after Reese drained the entire team.
I mean, look at what our best defensive player is, a guy we traded from the Jets. I mean, and he's going to be a free agent. I highly doubt we're going to sign him for the money.
Yeah, we can't.
And then one of your top draft picks is what, in jail? DeAndre Baker.
Yeah, I mean, we
traded back into the first for like.
I mean, I can't. That's just beyond me. That story.
Beyond me. So at this point with Daniel Jones, Matt, where are you? I mean, we got 8 more games left in the season for us.
A good buddy of mine, Alex, said this, and I'm going to repeat it here. This is his audition to keep the job going forward. You got to show something. You got to show some kind of improvement if you want to keep being a New York Football Giant, or damn near if you want to play football at all, because another team will take a shot at him, but he might not start if he doesn't really prove something in these last few games. Like, he might just be a backup who got drafted 6 overall. So let's hope for his sake he does something. I hope for the Giants' sake he does something, but optimism
Joe
is
Judge. I mean, I feel bad for Joe Judge too. I mean, Joe
Judge kind of had this situation forced on him. I think Judge gets a pass for this year. You know what I mean?
They're playing hard. They're definitely playing hard.
He should absolutely get a pass. I mean, it's not his quarterback. So this is the evaluation. It's same with Dwayne. Like, they just decided, hey, he's not our guy. But for you guys, I think there's still in the evaluation because we had Kyle Allen, who's kind of in the program, Alex Smith. And so we had some sort of names behind Dwayne that compete for the job. But, this is all Daniel. Let him ride it out. I'm looking at Cincinnati week 12, Seattle week 13. I mean, those are opportunities, for him to get kind of bounce back. Seattle, why? Every team against Seattle has been playing really well. Your defense is much better than theirs.
We can beat Seattle.
You guys... I mean, listen, if Bradbury, I don't know how good Bradbury's going to be on DK that week, but I mean, listen, the other guy's going to go off. Whoever he's not on is going to go off in that game. But you probably, I think you keep it honest, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they're all going to be, the Giants are going to have a great game plan. I mean, look, they did have a great game plan for Tampa Bay.
That's true. That is true.
Obviously, we didn't execute on offense. The defense, when they keep getting thrown on the field every 5 minutes, eventually, they're going to get picked apart, or a play is going to get broken up and get in the end zone for Tampa.
And I know you guys never forget, but let's not forget they don't have their star running back who would make this a little bit better right now. If he was, I think he would be producing a lot better right now than he would have been at the beginning of the season.
At the beginning of the season, everyone was queued in on him. They were daring Daniel Jones to win the game, and Daniel Jones couldn't win the game, so Saquon put more on his back, and that's how he got hurt. I realized what it was at the end of the day. Instead of just going down, he was trying to cut back and do a little bit more to really keep it alive, and that's how he tore his ACL.
That's how a lot of them are getting injured. That's the same way Eckler got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, he had a weird hyperextension, and I'm still waiting for him. Please.
Injuries just crushing fantasy football dream. And, well wishes players, but
except for Michael Thomas. Fuck you and fuck Ohio State. 2 leagues he's fucking me in. 2 of them. Fucking
I can't believe you have him in 2 leagues, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? This is what I get for going value this year. Like, me, I never take a wide receiver first round. No. Ever. And I was
especially Michael Thomas.
I was like, let me mix it up this year. I was like, let me try something different. Let me go value based, and fuck it. I'm never abandoning my strategy again. That was, oh God.
Hey, you live and you learn, Matt. You went outside the box and it didn't work out for you. But
Yeah, I'm going right back in that box.
Get him next year. The trade deadline has come and passed with the Giants not making really any moves except for gold into the Cardinals for a 6th-round draft pick. To me, this
call that a move.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a good sign for if you are in the camp of getting rid of Gettleman. I don't think ownership is going to let him make crazy moves, trade draft capital away, trade players away without doing harm to the team, which he has done in the past by basically just throwing draft picks everywhere instead of trying to build through the draft. But I guess when you can't draft anybody, that's what you have to do as well.
Yeah.
The rumor about Kenny Golladay, what did you think about that? I mean,
so that was the dumbest thing. I was like, there's absolutely no reason for us to do this. If we were one piece away, like we just needed that big outside receiver, and that's how we're going to start winning games and we can make a playoff run, absolutely. But for us to throw away draft capital and potentially have to look at re-signing this guy when we can't afford it, when we don't know what else the team needs, we've got to evaluate pieces, would have been the dumbest thing.
I feel like you just really don't like Kenny Galladay.
I mean, if
you
it
were on our
was,
show, you
he's
said this.
he's taking Megatron's spotlight.
Well, they did. What they call him when he first got drafted, Babytron. That actually might be part of it. That actually really might be part of it.
Shout out to Chase. Shout out to Chase Claypool, who's Mapletron, I believe.
Yeah, like what the fuck is that? Stop doing. It's like whenever there's a scandal and they put Gate after it because of Watergate. Like there was the Bounty Gate scandal, there's Deflate Gate. Like no, like you can't just throw Gate after something. Just call it the deflation scandal. Like call it the Bounty scandal. Like don't just put Gate just because. You can't just put a Tron at the end of something because this guy's a good receiver. Like get the fuck out of here.
Next it's gonna be like something with like a Band-Aid. It's gonna be like Band-Aid Gate.
Yeah, like something. It's just like what? It's like, oh, the gates to the stadium didn't open. Gate. Like, come on.
And sitting here opposite of me is the podcast-tron, Matthew Ferreira.
I would name that one.
It's the golden voice of podcasting, Mattron.
Mattron.
Let's go to some Giants tweets that I found pretty interesting. The first one here is from our friend here, Mr. David. Haskins, greater than symbol, Jones. And you can't convince me any differently. Matt, convince him differently, please.
Well, there's one real simple answer. Daniel Jones went to Duke, a respectable organization in college. And this fat fuck hamburglar, Dwayne Haskins, went to piece of shit Ohio State where they eat dicks for breakfast. Fuck him. Fuck that old school. Fuck Michael Thomas. I rest my case.
Great argument there.
Thank you.
I mean, what's your thought behind? I want to hear your thought. Honestly, what is your?
It was more of like a decision from like exclusion, or you know what I mean? Like, all right. I'm not saying like Dwayne is better than Daniel Jones. I'm just saying I haven't seen much of a difference in terms of this is the guy kind of thing. Like Dwayne Haskins' last start was against Baltimore Ravens. He put up over 300 yards. He didn't have a turnover. And sure, it wasn't he didn't put up a lot of touchdowns in that game, but he played pretty well and was like super happy about it. And apparently rubbed everyone the wrong way. And then he was benched the next week. Like, I think from the opportunity standpoint, here is kind of where I'm getting at. Like, I don't understand, like we talked about before. I don't get how you're like, I get it's a different regime, different coaching staff, different situation, right. But like reality is the situation is quite similar if you really look at the pieces here. And I'm like, how are you going to give this kid a couple starts, kind of say to him, all right, you're the guy, we're going to stick behind Dwayne. And then like literally the next day, he's like, all right, his job's in danger. If he doesn't play well against the Ravens, because, it's an easy team to play, well against. Like, and he actually played pretty well. He didn't lose us that game. And so I guess what I'm getting at is I've seen, like last night, times where Daniel Jones and the fumbles, it's like you said, predictable. And Dwayne had some turnovers in his game rookie year and whatever, but he was just not spectacular. He was pretty safe with the ball overall, though, so far this year. And that's why I'm like, listen, you can't convince me that like a guy who really didn't get his chance, who's barely been able to have a preseason where he's the guy at all, or practice as the one with your teammates and everything. Give up on him for a couple weeks and a couple games last year where he actually ended up having the highest passer rating for 3 of those last 4 weeks. Like, you can't convince me right now that Daniel Jones is better than Dwayne Haskins. And of course we can't prove this, but that's kind of the mentality,
That's what Twitter's for.
Yeah, man.
Do you think it's more of like an off the field thing with him? Like he just doesn't mesh with the coaching staff? Because you have Kyle Allen, who is a Ron Rivera guy, I guess, quote unquote, who knows his system, can run it better, maybe gives him an opportunity to win more games now.
Right.
But at this rate, I mean, Dwayne Haskins is not going to be the quarterback in Washington ever. Right?
I think it's hard to ignore there is some small immaturities, nothing that's like too major, but like perfect example is the selfie at the end of the game last year, his rookie year. You have to go for 2 or something like that, and you're on the sideline with someone taking a fucking selfie with someone. Like, excuse me if cursing, but like it's ridiculous. And I kind of gave him the pass, but like there's the little things. He's benched and everything, kind of bitches, doesn't unfollows Kyle Allen on Instagram, unfollows the team on Instagram, like little, little immature things. Like he cares more about his image on social media than being a better quarterback. And I heard like Alex Smith this year, guy with 1.5 legs, came in, was there the first guy there every morning, getting his reps in early, this and that. Dwayne wasn't exactly doing that. Now, he did what he had to do in the offseason. He had all these videos. He looked good. Matt said he was like a donut, and he did. He got better shape this year, But like it was, it did irk me that like half the offseason was just these Instagrams with sick music and slow, and him throwing with no one there to rush him or do anything. And it was like progress. Well, you know what, dude? Like progress would have been actually, progress. All right. Stop bitching that you got. Yeah. And so when he got benched, that whole reaction. And then of course, like the COVID thing where he wasn't even playing and he invited someone to stay in the hotel, got fined for that by a league. It's just the little things I think that irk people. And again, the way he did celebrate after Baltimore, we lost, but he had a decent game. He was like celebrating like he won the Super Bowl apparently in the locker room. And that rubbed some players the wrong way, including Jonathan Allen, one of their defensive captains, leader. I shouldn't say captain, but he's a leader on that team. No doubt about it. So little things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's Daniel Jones obviously has a maturity of him where he's going to say the right things, do the right things.
Yeah.
And he's going to be looked higher upon in front offices, I guess, just for that. And that's probably why the Giants took him before Dwayne Haskins.
Yep. And I also think a little thing, I don't know how important this is, but listen, Dwayne's like the only non-mobile quarterback that's come out of this draft as a first-round pick in the last
that's
like 4
pretty true.
years. You know what I mean? Like it's just not the brand anymore unless you are like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning and you're that quick with your mind and you're just that smart and
you can just command the defense. You can tell, you can rearrange the offense to trick the defense. Yeah.
Right. He reminds me more Jamarcus Russell. It was a very similar type of, I don't know. I think it'll be better, but what? I mean, yeah, before he was like 600 pounds.
Yeah, fair.
He was like a 270-pound quarterback or 90-pound quarterback by his like 6th year.
God, he was huge.
Oh, he was such a bean.
Huge.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sports is Told by a Girl for tagging us in this tweet by Justin Pennick. It was basically the video of Joe Judge saying, "It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke" at the end of the game. And I get it. I mean, he's going to support his quarterback and he wants the call. They threw the flag. Matt and I talked about it. They did throw a flag. Obviously someone saw something, but I thought the video is great. And they showed it on TV too, if you caught it, but
yeah. I mean, I agree with Matt on this. Like they should have, if it was called, I mean, it was very questionable when he started turning his head. And that was, I guess, the determining factor. Cause like as he hit him, as the ball literally touched him at the same time, his head was also like just turned as a game. It was very debatable.
It was a bang bang. So
if you call that, you should, in my opinion, it should have been a do-over.
Yeah,
but it should have never happened.
Exactly. Yeah. At SNY
I needed that
Giants,
by the way in fantasy.
At SNY Giants, this was pretty shocking to me and kind of made me feel like shit. But NFL record since 2017.
Oh yeah, this is
the Browns 18-37-1, the Bengals 17-38-1. The Jets 16-40, and the 32nd team listed, the Giants 13-43.
Wait, where are we? We can't be that far behind.
They only showed me the top 4 because the other
Or
part
bottom
of it is,
4, technically.
I bet you were
the bottom
5.
4, yeah.
I bet you were bottom 5. I bet you were the 15.
Unfortunately, they put a picture of Dave Gettleman with his son hat on, sitting at the combine. So, the last one, NFL and CBS. Giants record through 8 games the last 4 seasons. 2017, 1-7. 2018, 1-7. 2019, 2-6, and 2020, of course, 1-7. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Pretty bad.
You forget. I mean, I guess they're a second half football team because they didn't finish the
You
season.
can call it that, yeah.
I mean,
Doesn't it feel like an eternity since the Super Bowls?
it does.
It really does.
I mean,
It
listen,
does.
at least you had that experience.
Shout out to Eli. You can barely see him back there, bro.
I mean, I don't think I don't have to ask you this, but I asked Matt. We talked about it before. The Dodgers just won for the first time since 1988. If you had to rank like your top 3 teams that you need to win a championship, 1 to 3, based on franchise success and just your personal happiness, I can guess what number 1 is. But who are your other 2?
Does it have to be any sport?
Anything, yeah.
Anything.
Like your teams, yeah.
Listen, there's 2 teams. Well, obviously my Washington team is the first. Basketball, like, here's the thing. I would love to see the Knicks win a 1 because I'm a Knicks fan.
That was my number 1.
But not with that a-hole owner because I don't want to give him the satisfaction of being a champion because he's such an a-hole. And then honestly, I just wish the Devils were good, like New Jersey Devils, only last New Jersey team left. I'm a diehard Devils fan, and I just love to see a Stanley Cup victory.
Yeah. All right. I was curious. Thank you for filling us in on that. Yeah, I figured number 1. I figured number 1 was too obvious, but
Yeah.
couple of final things here. Thoughts on Golden Tate's wife going off on Twitter about his lack of targets on Monday Night Football. Do you agree with the Giants that the Giants should look to Tate more? I mean, Sterling Shepard and Slayton looked pretty damn good. Look, Tate made an amazing catch for that touchdown, but
Yeah, he did.
bringing Tate in also can be looked at as one of Gettleman's worst moves, taking on that contract. And
Tate's been effective for us, though. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. He's just older is really the only issue. Like that's the only real problem they have there.
And he's a similar player to Shepard, similar player to Slayton. They're all our receivers exactly the same. I mean, we don't have that Kenny Galladay, that big bodied guy. Evan Ingram was supposed to be in, but he can't catch a ball.
Although he had what was the stat line before, Dave? Evan Ingram was 8 for
he had
10.
a decent game. He had
10 targets, 6 for 61 or something like that.
Yeah, he helped me out in fantasy in one league. I picked him up. Someone dropped him. So
there you go.
Well, ironically enough, Matt and I talked about this earlier. I am actually, if I had to pick 2 guys for you guys in this game against us, I like Golden Tate and I like Evan Ingram in fantasy over the others. Even though I do like Sterling Shepard, he's higher on my rankings this week. But listen, I think Golden Tate needs more targets, man. He's angry. He's kind of pissed off, and that guy plays. There's some times. I mean, people seem to forget the couple of years in Detroit where he was just a stud. So just get him the ball more. He was super efficient on his targets this week. So clearly the underneath stuff works for Daniel Jones. That is a weakness area. Like I talked to Matt, our safeties, we lost Collins, so he's gone. And so we're a little weaker there, but our corners are really good. So the outside guys are going to have a little problem this week, I think.
What's your prediction for the game?
What do we say, Matt? What was it? Actually, I have the spreads right here. Everything right here.
Yeah.
So let's see. So it's 3.5 point spread at home. We were talking it was a 42.5 point, or was it over and under is 42.5? We said what, Matt? Under? I said under.
I think. Well, for turnovers, I said under.
Oh yeah, turnovers. Yeah, we had a turnover over under. So we thought it was going to be a defensive battle. That's where I was leaning with that in the show earlier. I think it's going to be maybe 37. I'm thinking it's going to be the under for me, and I was talking maybe 20-17 kind of game. I think whoever wins is the team that's going to have the more turnovers. I don't know which one it's going to be yet. So
I can make a prediction, but
go for it. You know what though? Kyle Allen can absolutely have that kind of game. Absolutely. Yeah. So
yeah, it should be interesting. I think originally we predicted us to beat the Washington football team twice during the season because we didn't really have much hope. With a healthy Cowboys team, a healthy Eagles team beating them, but it's a toss up. I think after the way you guys lost us last time, you guys are probably going to want some revenge.
Yep.
Especially at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more the Giants on a short week keep losing this way, I mean, it takes some air out of the tires for them.
Right.
I don't know if they're gonna come out like they were against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when.
Hopefully, but yeah, we'll see.
I think the defense will, because especially if we have ball first or something like that. Like, I think they'll come out, humming a little bit. I do like, Matt and I talked. I mean, I don't really like a lot of Washington, players in fantasy. Like Gibson, I think the run game will be all right, but Terry against Bradbury, outside of Terry, they don't have anyone else really that you can rely on in the passing game here. So, I mean, Thomas has played decent against you, Logan Thomas, but he's not putting up like crazy numbers. So if you guys are able to isolate that, which you guys, in my opinion, played really, like you said, really well last night, I would look at that from a defensive standpoint. Like, yeah, I mean, our quarterback screwed up, but like we played our asses off and we went toe to toe. We were supposed to be, the Hall of Fame all the time, and you're still in his head, So I think they come in with a little swag, but it depends if Daniel Jones kind of deflates that.
Yeah, I mean, I think our main problem on defense is we just don't get pressure on the quarterback, which that more power to our corners and our defensive backs is like, for locking down receivers that long. But we just don't get, like you saw in last night's game, we're just not getting pressure on anybody. And it's tough to stay off the field when the other teams can dink and dunk down the field. And, and when we're turning the ball over on offense, our defense is back out there. So I have a feeling our defense is going to get burnt out towards the end of the season, unfortunately, even though it's been fun to watch them play. I'm just a little worried for the rest of the season.
Yeah, unless the offense wakes up, yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, but last thing here, some are comparing this year's Giants to last year's Dolphins, mainly in the fact they're losing games but look better each week. Do you like the comparison? Look, we have the same defensive coordinator as the Dolphins had last year, so that's a good thing. We're built around the Patriots system, or that's what we're aiming to do. If we could rebound like the Dolphins did next year, that'd be great. And we're probably going to finish in the same pick area, I think, as the Dolphins had. So there are a lot of similarities. I don't know. And another thing, we were in a shitty division. So, there are a lot of good comparisons. I just don't know. The Giants, bad teams find a way to lose games, and the Giants just do that every week. I just don't see that changing this year, at least.
Well, I think that to that point, that's kind of where I'm like, I don't know, because you just said that like bad teams, they find ways to lose. Well, Miami was one of those teams last year. They traded away everyone, and they were still trying to find ways to win some of those games too. Like they were not like this, pushover. They were bad, but they were in so many games, and they actually won a couple of those, and they were like much more competitive than I think we all thought last year.
Yeah, and
they also have a lot of capital that they have to work with. So I don't know if we're looking holistically. I wouldn't say exactly the same, because I think the situation of where you guys are, like they were in full rebuild. They just broke down everything and started over. You guys are still, I think, evaluating that part of, are we going to move on from Jones? Are we just going to cut all these receivers and move on, build around Saquon, build this offense back up, add to the defense, So I don't know if it's quite the same spot, but they're competitive. Their defense is absolutely much better than I thought they were going to be. So.
Yeah, their defense is fantasy-wise is getting some points too, so that's good. I think that wraps it up for us here. Matt, tell them where they can find us.
If you weren't sure, if you somehow forgot, you can find us on Instagram at Why Am I a Nerd Official. That's WHYAM, the letter I, A Nerd Official. On Facebook and YouTube at Why Am I a Nerd, spelled exactly the same way. You can find us on Twitter at 4th and 1 Pod. That's the number 4 THANDWON Pod. Please like, rate, and review us wherever you enjoy listening or watching. And don't forget, Batman sucks.
I won't remember that. Okay, I will not.
Dave, you are up and rolling now since last time we talked to you. Where can everybody find your content?
Yeah, if you guys want any fantasy advice, we do game by game analysis every single week for every single game. Your boy here, Matt Ferreira, is sometimes our co-host on the show, so we talk about every single thing that you need to know for every week. You can find us at youtube.com/Rise and Fall Show or at Rise and Fall Pod on Twitter. Excuse me.
I have.
And then
I have
like,
breaking
subscribe.
news. Sorry. Apparently, I just received notification. New Jersey voted to legalize recreational marijuana. 67% to 32%. I was shocked by that. So sorry to interrupt. I'm just like, whoa.
I'm all for that.
Hey, we started with some election talk and we're finished with some political talk. That's
Yeah.
all you really get on this podcast.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out to Baby Yoda in the background over there. And I'd like to thank everyone for watching and listening. I'm Sean.
And I'm Matt.
Catch you next time.